happy due to the fact that the incentive
Good day and welcome to this week's episode of Infrastructure Weekly. I am your host, Ajibola Onwuchekwa. In this week's edition of the program, we'll be taking you around project sites in the power works and water resources in places as diverse as Abuja, Ilesha and Lagos. Join us after this break for an in-depth look at the projects and how far the Muhammadu Buhari administration has gone in bridging the nation's infrastructure gap. Stay tuned.
Coming together of opportunities. This is what
infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
There is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QoTV News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
We take up today from the dualization of the Abuja-Kefi-Makurdi Road, which serves as a link between the nation's capital, the Nasarawa state capital, and the Benue state capital, Makurdi. The road, which was constructed several years ago, is in a state of disrepair following pressure and constant use. But as it is with several abandoned and disregarded projects all over the country, it is now slated for reconstruction and expansion. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who flagged off the reconstruction of the road, said it is a show of commitment on the part of the federal government to continue to develop the nation and encourage commerce by bringing Nigerians together.
Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has flagged off the Abuja-Kefi-Makurdi Road expansion and realization project at Kilometer 15, Kefi-Akwanga Road, Nasarawa State. The Abuja-Kefi-Makurdi Road expansion and realization project is one of the many road construction and reconstruction projects that will enjoy adequate funding under the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, especially in partnership with the Chinese government. It involves the expansion of about 5.4-kilometer length of the Abuja-Kefi Expressway from the current 6 lanes to 10 lanes to relieve the perennial gridlock experienced by commuters between Nyanya and Masaka axis. The other part of the project involves the dualization of the 22-kilometer-long Kefi-Akwanga-Makurdi Road from its current single carriageway.
What is going to happen here from Abuja, Akwanga, Kefi, and all the way to Makurdi is jobs. Let me tell you some of the jobs. Mining, laterite, stone, granite, supply of sand, transporting them, cement, iron rod, labor, engineering work.
The major aspect of the work is the scarification of the existing alphatic concrete on carriageway, bituminous surface on shoulders, and the compaction of the existing base, reformation of the road shoulders, as well as reconstruction of the entire stretch. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, assures Nigerians of more job opportunities through infrastructure in the present and next level, while the project is expected to serve as a major economic road in the north-central parts of the country.
Abuja, Akwanga, Kefi, and all the way to Makurdi is jobs. Let me tell you some of the jobs. Mining, laterite, stone, granite, supply of sand, transporting them, cement, iron rod, labor, engineering work, and that's why Engineer Mokolu is here. and President Buhari has signed an executive order that any part of this work that can be done by Nigerians must not be done by foreigners. So if you are ready to work, go and get ready. There is work waiting here for you.
Vehicular traffic on the road has increased significantly since it was opened many years ago. Hence the need to construct and reconstruct the entire stretch of the Abuja-Kefi-Akwanga-Lafia-Makurdi Expressway.
Particularly when we look at the project and the benefits it gives to the people within the corridor of the Federal Capital and Nasarawa State, where there will be the expansion of the dualized road from 6 lanes to 10 lanes. That will go a long way in putting a lot of relief to commuters and people living within the vicinity.
We are part of the success of this project and success of the administration. I want to appreciate the effort of Mr. President and then the effort of the Honorable Minister, who is a lawyer but turned back to be an engineer now, and all the staff of the ministry, from the farmstead down to all the staff of the ministry, for the effort they did in making this project a reality.
Stakeholders appreciate the federal government, saying this act will contribute to a large extent to the nation's economy.
This is the road that covers most states. About 16 states come in and out of Abuja through this route. And I think it's a very, very great development at this time that the federal government would flag off this road, expansion and dualization.
As one of the users of the road, I'm very happy that today a new dawn has started. The dualization will certainly improve the quality of travel in this part of the country. We are very, very pleased with the President for what he has done, and may he continue to rule this country, and may he continue to provide infrastructure.
The project, which has been approved by the Federal Executive Council and awarded to China Harbour Engineering Company Limited at the cost of $542.1 million US, has a completion period of 36 months. Messrs. Yarrison Partnership Limited and Ete Aro and Partners Limited have also been appointed as supervisors of the project. This is in addition to the team of engineers and experts from RSDT and Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing, who will closely monitor the implementation of the project.
If you're just joining us, the program is Infrastructure Weekly, where we x-ray the achievement of the Muhammadu Buhari administration in the area of infrastructure development. You can get in touch with us on any of the social media handles showing on your screen. Still staying with the roads, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babasundé Fashola, has disclosed that the issue of infrastructure decay in the nation's tertiary institution will be addressed decisively. He was speaking at the premier tertiary institution in Nigeria, the Yaba College of Technology, as a convocation lecturer. He said infrastructure regeneration is a part of the investment in the education sector, which should not start and end with salaries.
We started with 14 tertiary institutions for internal road rehabilitation. And I don't know the last time any federal government went back to its schools to go and do internal road rehabilitation. And I don't know the last time that any federal government decided to start building independent power plants for its own universities in this country. But that is what the Buhari government is doing now. Those who argue that there is no investment in human capital, there is no invested in this. Investment in human capital in education does not start and end with payment of salaries. It also requires massive investments in the infrastructure, the environment in which the teaching and the training takes place, and the equipment with which it is done. In the 14 universities that we have intervened, 1 or 2 of them, they are roads, just doing roads. The children said that now that the roads are done, they have a reason to go back to classrooms. But that is what we have left undone at the time when oil was selling at $400 per barrel. Nobody came to these schools to come and build roads or power. It is now that it is less that Buhari recognizes that my schools are there. Somebody said that you could be MIT, you could be better than MIT. But you know what? Our people here say, oh, the government has borrowed money. Go and check the figure of America's public debt. It is now clearly over $20 trillion. They are the largest debtor nation in the world. But they have the strongest army to change anybody's government. They have the most fearsome weapons to threaten anybody. They have the MITs and the universities we all want to go. They use it to build planes.
Still on the road sector, the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing has disclosed that its engineers all over the country have been mandated to ensure the rehabilitation of bad or failed sections of federal roads across the country to safeguard lives and road users as the Yuletide approaches. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who disclosed this, said it will also help in fast-tracking the movement of goods and service within the period.
According to Henry Ford, the question who ought to be the boss is like asking who ought to be the tenor in the quartet. Obviously, the man who can sing tenor. At the center of this quote lies the vision of the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, as the ministry has gathered all its federal controller of works from the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, at this 2018 workshop on learning and development for greater stature.
This is real life. Think about it. These are some of the things that you will learn here. How that road becomes so important that you must own it.
The minister says 50 million naira budget has been allocated to each controller for intervention on works projects, while charging the controllers to be creative and concerned towards delivering good roads.
Before we do that, we have asked them to submit work plans to us of roads in their territory that have problems, potholes, and they have submitted all of them, all 36 on the Federal Capital Territory. We've gone through it, and that's why we're able to move to this level. So it's a journey, but we are starting to reposition them to own those projects, to see how the roads connect to their own livelihood, to see how the productivity of the economy from good roads affect their own salaries, affect their pensions, and to also see the need to contribute to national development by effectively monitoring their own side of the Nigerian project, which are their roads.
The capacity building workshop will equip participants with skills on emotional intelligence, leadership acumen, business etiquette, project management, and e-tools optimization.
We will see the effect on the roads. They will be empowered to repair any part of the road that goes bad immediately without necessarily waiting for instructions from somewhere else. We did it before and it was a success, and we're trying it again.
We know that the investment in the road sector is very, very huge. So for us to strategically position ourselves, we need such a training so that we can work to achieve our goals, get value for money, and also accomplish government programs. So it's key to the work we are doing.
Fashola further calls for the use of less but creative resources to deliver quality and better road network.
For inquiries, comments and feedback, you can get in touch with us on Facebook, and that's Infrastructure Weekly, and on Twitter at Infra_Weekly. We'll be back after this time out with a look at the power sector. Stay tuned.
Dear lottery operator, you've done a remarkable job so far getting into a business that has been highly criticized for many years. You've done well to uphold your credibility and boost confidence in the business. Kudos to you. This is just to remind you of the rules of the game as prescribed by the National Lottery Regulatory Commission. Gaming is not for persons under 18. Underage gaming is prohibited. Report illegal operators to the Commission, and also always remember the regulatory job of the Commission. Whatever your category, lotteries, sport betting, promos, scratch cards, games, it is the duty of the Commission to protect lottery players and the operators as well as promote transparency and accountability. Licensees are also expected to play their part, which includes remittances to the National Lottery Trust Fund. For more information, please go to natlotterycom.gov.ng. The National Lottery Regulatory Commission. Lottery, the right way.
If you're just joining us, the program is still Infrastructure Weekly. You can get in touch with us on any of the social media handles showing on your screen. And now to power sector. The federal government said the nation's use of renewable energy sources is set to increase over the coming years. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who was speaking at the 2018 conference of the Association of Petroleum Explorationists in Lagos, said Nigeria has always used renewable energy sources, but adds that a person's renewable energy use is dependent on what is readily available.
The power sector has been in the news for some time due to the perception of many Nigerians that the improvements in the sector has not sufficiently addressed the power shortage in the country. Due to this belief, many had called for a broadening of the nation's energy mix to include more of renewable and clean sources. With this at the forefront of the agenda, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, is speaking to this gathering of petroleum explorationists. The minister says the issue of adding renewable energy to the nation's energy mix or that of any nation is dependent on the availability of such renewable sources.
The molecules of electricity do not carry the DNA of the source. So if we all convert to electric cars, right? You cannot ban a country like South Africa from producing a significant part of its energy source from coal. You can't stop there. It's a sovereign right. So Mr. Atta here is already also showing us that apart from hydro and all of that, and even gas for electricity, electricity is only one part of the energy that you can get from gas. You can use it as energy for transportation. In many parts of India, for example, the tricycles that are coming to us are not in use in their country.
He adds that government is not blind to the need to ramp up the use of renewable energy sources. He says this has always been a part of the plan.
We are now delivering 1,000 megawatt of new energy every year that have been in office. And we can ramp that up. So if we move from 250 to 1,000 megawatt, that's progress. And those of you in the industry, engineers and all that, know that the infrastructure needed to build some of these things is not built at the snap of a finger.
For his part, the managing director of the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Company, Tony Atta, says Nigeria and Nigerians must start looking towards exploitation of gas to take the nation to the next level.
And I dare say we need to now forget about riding on the back of oil, but fly on the wings of gas that we have in abundance.
The 2018 International Conference of the National Association of Petroleum Explorationists is the latest in the series of annual international conferences designed to aggregate issues within the oil and gas sector.
Still staying with the power sector, 4 turbines will soon be energized at the Kudenda Power Station in Kaduna out of 8 turbines being installed to generate electricity at the power station.
The installation of the power control module and the commissioning of the switchyard are important to power the 4 turbines that are ready, and these contracts have to be reactivated for the Kaduna power plant to function. It is over a year ago since the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, last visited the site. He says progress has been made in the 215 megawatts power plant.
Management has changed, but we haven't terminated that contract, but we need to see now what the new managers of that company want to do with their staff who are working here and with the resources that they are now in receivership and management of. So that will impact the delivery date of this project.
The engineering work on the project is at 98%, with procurement at 93% and construction 76% completion stage.
We are going to start the process of installing by next week of the power control module, and thereafter other jobs will start.
In line with the federal government's policy on incremental power, every megawatt that the ministry will deliver from this project, considering that each of the turbines is 25 megawatts, is additional power.
Join us after this break as we hit the home stretch with a look at the Ilesha Water Project in Osun State.
Coming together of opportunities, and this is what
Infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
there is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QoTV News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
We hit the home stretch today with a look at the multi-billion naira Ilesha water projects. The federal government, through the Ministry of Water Resources, has released a sum of $41.94 million for the completion of the Ilesha water projects. Minister of Resources Suleiman Adamu disclosed this in Ilesha while flagging off the water distribution project for the scheme. The total sum of the project is $65 million and has a completion project of 2 years.
The $65 million water project was inaugurated on the 18th December 2017 with 2 years completion period. The fund provided by the Islamic Development Bank has 25 years repayment period and 5 years moratorium. The federal government has just fulfilled its own side of the agreement with the release of about 42 billion naira.
I am happy to inform this government that the entire $41.94 million has already been released and was secured in my ministry. I wish to assure you that we are seriously working with the Osun State government to establish the necessary project implementation framework that will ensure qualitative and timely completion of this project.
The Ilesha Water Supply and Sanitation Project that commenced will be pursued with vigor and be completed for the use of all and sundries of Ilesha people and the several. This water project, when completed, will improve socio-economic well-being of the people of Ilesha. I promise that this project will be completed as scheduled.
Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola lauded President Muhammadu Buhari for releasing the funds and promised to reciprocate the gesture.
I remain eternally grateful to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who has enough excuse, as stated by the minister, not to grant the money required for the network of distribution. But he chose rather to be magnanimous and therefore signed expeditiously and ordered immediate release. We are eternally grateful to President Muhammadu Buhari, and we are showing that we will deliver and he will come for a second term as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
On completion, the project is expected to produce 50 million liters of water per day for the people of Ijesha land.
That's it on this week's episode of the program. Join us again for another interesting edition of the program next week. Until then, play your part by paying your tax and protecting public utilities around you. And lastly, as the Yuletide approaches, drive carefully and obey all road signs and rules. Thanks so much for watching. I am Ajibola Onwuchekwa. Bye for now.